Welcome back. In each lesson, we've been building another piece of a strong financial foundation. Today, we're adding the next piece, learning how to manage debt with a practical plan that you can follow step by step. In our previous lesson, we learned what debt is, how borrowing works, and why interest can make debt more expensive over time. Today, we're focusing on something even more important: how to take control of debt. Before we begin, imagine someone we'll call Sarah. She has a full-time job. She pays her bills. She isn't careless with money. But over the years, life happened. A credit card covered an unexpected expense. A car loan helped her get to work. Later, she needed a small personal loan. None of those decisions seemed unreasonable at the time, but together, they became a constant source of stress. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. For many people, debt isn't caused by one big mistake. It's the result of ordinary life. The good news is that debt can be managed, not overnight, but step by step. And that's exactly what we'll build in this lesson. Every successful repayment plan starts with one thing: clarity. Before deciding which debt to pay first, you need to know exactly what you owe. Take a notebook, a spreadsheet, or a simple piece of paper. Write down every debt you have. Include the remaining balance, the interest rate, the minimum monthly payment, and the payment due date. Many people avoid doing this because they find it uncomfortable. That's understandable, but once everything is written down, the situation becomes much easier to understand. You're no longer worrying about unknown numbers. You're looking at a plan, and once you have a clear picture, you can start making better decisions. The next priority is protecting your everyday life. When people decide to pay off debt, they sometimes put every available dollar toward repayments. But before paying extra, make sure your essential expenses are covered. Your housing, food, utilities, transport, insurance. These always come first. If paying extra toward debt leaves you unable to cover your basic living costs, you're simply creating a new financial problem. If possible, keep a small emergency buffer as well. It doesn't need to be large. Its purpose is simple: to help you deal with unexpected expenses without borrowing again. A flat tire, a broken appliance, or an unexpected medical bill. Even a modest emergency fund can help break the cycle of borrowing. Once your essentials are covered, continue making the minimum payment on every debt. This protects you from late fees, additional interest, and other unnecessary consequences. Then focus every extra dollar on just one debt. Many people divide their extra money across several debts. It feels productive, but it usually slows progress. Instead, choose one balance as your priority. Keep making the minimum payment on every other debt. Then direct every extra payment toward that single balance. Watching one debt disappear is far more motivating than watching several debts shrink only a little. Progress builds confidence, and confidence helps you stay consistent. Now comes one of the biggest decisions you'll make during your repayment journey. Which debt should you focus on first? There are two popular strategies: the debt avalanche and the debt snowball. Both work. The difference is how they help you succeed. Let's look at each one. Let's start with the debt avalanche. With this method, you focus on the debt with the highest interest rate. You continue making the minimum payment on every debt, but every extra dollar goes toward the balance that's costing you the most. Imagine you have 3 debts: a credit card charging 21% interest, a personal loan at 9%, and a car loan at 5%. With the avalanche method, every extra payment goes toward the credit card first. Once it's paid off, you move to the personal loan, then finally the car loan. Because you're eliminating the most expensive debt first, you'll usually pay less interest over time. If your goal is to become debt-free as efficiently as possible, the avalanche method is often the better choice. The second strategy is called the debt snowball. Instead of focusing on the highest interest rate, you focus on the smallest balance. Again, you continue making the minimum payment on every debt. but every extra payment goes toward the smallest one first. Imagine your smallest debt is only $300. You pay it off. One bill disappears, one payment is gone, one success achieved. Then you roll that payment into the next smallest debt. As each balance disappears, the amount you're able to repay each month becomes larger, like a snowball rolling downhill. Your momentum grows. The snowball method may cost slightly more in interest, but many people find those early wins incredibly motivating. And staying motivated is often more important than choosing the mathematically perfect strategy. So, which method should you choose? The answer is simple. Choose the one you'll actually follow. If saving the most money motivates you, choose the Avalanche. If seeing quick results keeps you going, choose the Snowball. Neither method is right for everyone. The important thing is staying consistent. A simple plan followed for 2 years will always outperform the perfect plan you abandon after 2 months. Once you've chosen your strategy, look for opportunities to speed up your progress. You don't need to make dramatic changes overnight. Instead, look for small amounts of money you can free up each month. Review your recent spending. Cancel subscriptions you no longer use. Cook at home a little more often. Delay purchases that aren't essential. If you've watched our lesson on intentional spending, you'll recognize this approach. Small decisions repeated consistently often have a much bigger impact than one dramatic change that only lasts a few weeks. Unexpected income can help too. A tax refund, a work bonus, or money from selling something you no longer use. Instead of spending all of it, consider putting some of it toward your debt. Every extra payment reduces your balance, and every lower balance reduces future interest. There's one final opportunity that's often overlooked. Sometimes it's possible to reduce the cost of the debt itself. If you've been making your payments on time, speak with your lender. They may be able to offer a lower interest rate or a repayment plan that's better suited to your situation. Some people also choose to combine several debts into one loan. This is known as debt consolidation. It can simplify your repayments and, in some cases, reduce the interest you pay. But don't assume it's automatically the better option. Always compare the interest rate, any fees, the repayment period, and the total amount you'll repay. A lower monthly payment doesn't always mean a lower overall cost. Take your time, read the details carefully, and only make changes that genuinely improve your financial situation. By now, you have the foundation of a practical repayment plan. But paying off debt isn't only about numbers. It's also about building habits that help you stay on track. In the final part of this lesson, we'll look at how to avoid falling back into debt, how to stay motivated during the months ahead, and why every small step you take today is helping build a stronger financial future. As your debt begins to shrink, there's one habit that's just as important as making repayments. Avoid taking on new debt. This isn't always easy. Spending is often emotional. After a difficult day, buying something can feel like a reward. There's nothing wrong with enjoying your money. But while you're working toward becoming debt-free, it's worth creating a short pause before making non-essential purchases. Ask yourself one simple question. Do I really need this today? Sometimes the answer will be yes. Often, it won't. That small pause can prevent decisions you'll later regret. If you've watched our lesson on intentional spending, you'll recognize this habit. It's not about saying no to everything. It's about making sure your spending supports the goals you're working toward. Paying off debt also requires patience. Some months will feel encouraging. Others may feel frustratingly slow. That's why it's important to track your progress. At the end of each month, record your remaining balances. Use a notebook, a spreadsheet, or an app. The tool doesn't matter. Seeing your progress does. When you look back and realize your debt is lower than it was 3 months ago, you're reminded that your effort is paying off. Small improvements are still progress, and recognizing them makes it easier to keep going. Of course, life doesn't always go according to plan. You might lose your job, face unexpected expenses, or experience changes that make repayments more difficult. If that happens, don't ignore the situation. Contact your lender as early as possible. Many lenders are willing to discuss alternative repayment arrangements before the problem becomes more serious. Depending on where you live, reputable nonprofit organizations or qualified financial advisors may also be able to help. And be cautious of anyone promising a quick solution. If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Managing debt takes time. There are very few shortcuts. Asking for help isn't a sign of failure. It's a responsible financial decision. Before we finish, let's look back at what we've learned throughout this course. We started by taking control of our money. Then we built a budget, tracked our spending, created an emergency fund, learned to pay ourselves first, made more intentional spending decisions, and explored how debt and interest really work. This lesson brings all of those habits together. A budget helps you find money for repayments. Tracking your spending shows where that money can come from. An emergency fund helps you avoid borrowing again. And intentional spending keeps you focused on your priorities. Personal finance isn't about mastering one skill. It's about building good habits that support each other over time. If you're carrying debt today, remember this: debt does not define who you are. It simply describes where you are today. And today's situation doesn't have to be tomorrow's. Every payment you make, every thoughtful financial decision, and every month you stay consistent moves you forward. Progress doesn't have to be dramatic. It simply has to continue. Building financial confidence doesn't happen overnight. It happens one thoughtful decision at a time. Today, you've completed an important part of your financial journey. Together, we've explored budgeting, spending, saving, building an emergency fund, paying yourself first, spending intentionally, understanding debt, and creating a plan to pay it down. These aren't separate skills. Together, they form the foundation of confident financial decision-making. Take time to put these ideas into practice. Building financial confidence doesn't happen overnight. It happens one thoughtful decision at a time.